Hello and welcome. To be recognised by your peers for your achievements is affirming, whether that be in the field of art, science, business or even aviation. Recipients of the Nobel Prize, Booker Prize, an Academy Award or Pulitzer Prize would agree. In Australia, the Royal Federation of Aeroclubs award a yearly Oswald Watt Gold Medal for outstanding contribution to aviation. Past winners on multiple occasions have been Bert Hinkler, Sir Charles Kingsford Smith, Don Bennett and Ivor McIntyre. One interesting recipient was Martin Warner, awarded the prize in 1950. He inadvertently set a British Empire altitude record for a glider after he flew a Slingsby T-25 Gull 4 into a thundercloud and was caught in an updraft. At 25,150 feet, he had passed out through lack of oxygen, the glider exiting the cloud at 4,000 feet as he woke up, no doubt realising he had broken a record and almost his neck. Who then was Oswald Watt? This chap was born in Bournemouth in England in 1878, the family moving to Australia after his mother died when he was 1. He returned to England at age 11 to complete his education. In 1900, he went back to Australia and in 1902 was appointed aide-de-camp to the New South Wales Governor. On a subsequent trip to England, he took flying lessons at the Bristol Aviation School on Salisbury Plain, where his fellow students included Eric Harrison. It was Harrison and Lieutenant Henry Petre who established Australia's first Air Force air base at Point Cook. Watt attained his Royal Aero Club certificate, number 112, on the 1st of August 1911, becoming the first Australian citizen so qualified. In 1911, Watt joined the French Foreign Legion as a pilot on the outbreak of World War I. Upon his return to Australia later that year, he publicly declared that time was rapidly approaching when an Aero Corps would have to be inaugurated as part of the country's military defence scheme. In 1913, he went to Egypt, where he purchased and practiced flying a Blériot 11 monoplane, meeting leading French aviators Louis Blériot and Roland Garros. In May 1914, the Francophile Watt left Egypt with his aeroplane and took up employment at the Blériot factory and airfield at Buc, outside Paris. Watt offered his services and his plane to the French government on the 2nd of August, the day France declared war on Germany. This gesture was welcomed. He was not eligible to command a French unit because he was a foreigner. Watt always proclaimed his Australian heritage while serving in France, painting a kangaroo on the nose of his plane, which he named Advance Australia. Well, that would do it. He was considered a no-nonsense type. Once introduced himself to a British pilot with the words, "I am an Australian and I haven't got any manners." He was a born leader of men, according to one officer. After visiting the squadron, the Royal Flying Corps Major General Hugh Trenchard described its airmen as really magnificent, as did war correspondent Charles Bean. Watt himself, now almost 40, was beginning to show the strain of frontline command. Bean found him looking very worn and noticed him shivering even while seated in front of the mess hall fire. Watt transferred to the Australian Flying Corps in 1916, quickly progressing from flight commander with the No. 1 Squadron in Egypt to commanding officer of No. 2 Squadron on the Western Front. By February 1918, he had been promoted to Lieutenant Colonel and taken command of the AFC's first training wing in England. He was awarded France's Legion of Honour and Cross de Guerre and appointed an officer of the Order of the British Empire in 1919. Watt also advocated manufacturing foreign design aircraft under licence in Australia, but this would not be pursued until after World War I. He left the military to pursue business interests in Australia and was lauded for his generosity to other returning airmen. In 1921, at the age of 43, he died by accidental drowning at Bilgola Beach in New South Wales. In his will, Watt left 2 bequests to the Australian Aero Club, one of which was used to establish the Oswald Watt Gold Medal for Outstanding Achievement in Australian Aviation. He also bequeathed a sum to the Royal Military College Duntroon to award annually a set of binoculars for the best cadet essay on military aviation or aeronautics. Most of the residue of Watt's considerable estate went to the University of Sydney. During World War I, Oswald Watt had been the only AFC officer to command a wing apart from Lieutenant Colonel Richard Williams, who was later to become known as the father of the RAAF. Thank you for watching. Comments always welcome. Like and subscribe to promote the work of the Old Flyers Group.